Okay, Google.
Say hello in Catanese.
Meow.
Imagine a world where we can talk to cats one day, or really any animal. Well, one day it could be possible through a field of science called bioacoustics. We live in a noisy world where no matter where you go, cities, the ocean, forests, or underground, there's always sound. And when you tune out Mother Nature and leave just only the sounds of animals, to us, it's still just noise. But what if one day it was more than just noise? What if we could actually hear the conversations of all the animals around us? Imagine how our significance in this world would change if we could just simply communicate with them. Well, there is a future where this actually could happen. So bioacoustics are the study of the production, transmission, and reception of animal sounds in nature. And there's a lot of animal sounds. There's 8.7 million species in the world, each with their own language, their own dialect. So scientists really started to evolve the field of bioacoustics in the 1970s. And what they would do is they would put collars around the animals and they would try to teach them human language. But with recent advances in AI and technology, we're sort of steering away from this human-centric method, and they're now applying technologies to understand animals and their language. It's pretty extraordinary. So take the robo-bee, for example. It would be pretty hard to teach a bee how to speak human. Number one, their physical anatomy just wouldn't allow them to be able to do this. So what scientists have to do is speak to them in their language, in Beanese. And how they do this is they set out portable recorders out into the field to record their audio and visuals. And then basically what they do is they apply this data to AI, and then they apply natural language processing algorithms to it. Just kind of like how you talk into Google Translate and it records the audio waves and it can turn that and detect the language that you're speaking in. So with this data, scientists can do all sorts of things. So they can actually track down specific bees, and then not only that, but then they can see how other bees are going to respond to what other bees have to say to them specifically. But what's really cool is scientists created a robotic bee called robo-bee. And what they did was they applied all this information, all the sounds and the behaviors of the bees that they recorded, plus with the AI technology, and they sent robo-bee into a hive, and robo-bee can actually command the colony to do certain things. Another example is bats. So there's a researcher named Yossi Yavel who recorded the audio and video of about 24 bats for 2.5 months. And his team analyzed 15,000 sounds, and then the AI correlated those sounds to their social interactions in videos. They've identified that bats have what are called signature calls, which are basically their individual names. So that bat's name is Joe, that bat's name is Sarah. And just like in the Spanish language, how there's feminine and masculine forms of words, bats have sort of the same thing. They change their words depending on the gender that they're speaking to. Not only that, but just how you and I change our voice when we talk to babies and little kids, we sort of soften our voice. Well, mother bats do the same thing to their young. So they have an extremely complex language, more so than we've ever thought in the past. So we're finding that the things that we understand about communication that we've thought are unique to us, to humans, are actually shared experiences in other animals as well. It makes you wonder, like, what type of things would we do differently if we could just understand what animals had to say? There's cultures that eat animals alive. We're destroying the forests around the world. We commit mass murder and mass torture to animals just for the supply and demand of food. How would we live differently if we could break down this interspecies communication barrier? And it doesn't just apply to animals, it applies to other humans as well. You know, people are mean to other people who don't speak their language. How would the world be different if all of humans in the world could speak on the same level of communication? So bioacoustics is an incredible way to understand and help to answer these questions. But it doesn't just stop there. Bioacoustics also helps us understand climate change and helps with animal conservation. So learning how these other animals live and interact with the environment and behave, like honeybees and bats and honey badgers, it'll help us understand how we need to live differently, how we need to treat the planet differently and to treat animals differently to help them survive better. Not only this, but bioacoustics helps us to understand the history of our planet. Scientists have discovered that certain non-vocal animals, who we've always thought of as being mute, like turtles, actually do communicate vocally. Scientists thought that vocalization was something that had evolved multiple times throughout history, But with new recent evidence, scientists actually learned that vocalization can be traced down to one common ancestor. One day, we could even make friends with other animals, the same way that humans make friends with each other. Imagine how cool it would be and how our meaning of life would change if the barrier of the interspecies communication was removed. And that leaves me with one question for you. If you could be friends with and talk to any animal, which one would it be? Me personally, I truly love humans, but I think it would be pretty cool if I could sort of just kick back with a pack of possums and talk about garbage and the universe.